I think I just entered the state of West Virginia. I'm at a gas station that the attendant didn't know what city or state we're in. Leave it at that. She would have sold me alcohol or any other thing. The three players I want to hone in on tomorrow at training camp, as we will be at the Greenbrier Resort after Sean and I do our show in the morning. Because I've learned one thing through the years, that if I try to watch everything, I end up watching nothing at all. So there's three positions slash players I want to hone in on. C.J. Stroud first and foremost, but very specifically pre-snap C.J. Stroud. How quickly are they getting up to the line of scrimmage? Exactly how much directing of traffic is going on beforehand, and I'm going to compare it to how much time he had to get up to the line of scrimmage in the last couple playoff games last year. So I'll look at the play clock and see what the delta is. That's what the nerdy types would say. The differences between last year and this year, because CJ's going to have more command at the line of scrimmage, also going to have more responsibilities. There's a lot of spinning plates that go into that, and it's not going to be like clockwork immediately. So I'm excited to watch that. As I watch CJ pre-snap and then stop watching him and at the snap, it's going to give me time to watch Ariante Ursary, the other big guy, both literally and figuratively, a big guy that I want to watch, because as of right now, it looks like he's going to be the starting right tackle unless Trent Brown recovers quickly from his knee surgery or something, or they don't trust Ariante Ursary. We'll see. But he's been taking the lion's shares of reps at right tackle. Very large human being, very athletic. Really, I would say by college standards, polished in a lot of ways. And when a guy's got really long arms and great natural and weight room strength, it's easy to envision him coming along quickly. And he has in the last couple of weeks. He's still not there yet. Dwayne Brown took 3 years to develop. Some guys develop in one training camp, but I want to see him going versus, obviously Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, everybody else. And then the third position I'm going to watch very intently and closely is whoever is at second string center, whether it's Jake Andrews or Jarrett Patterson. I really want to focus in on those guys, the centers, as much as possible this week, and start to get a feel for just how much maybe progression Jarrett Patterson has made, but then also Jake Andrews. It has some familiarity with some of the things they're doing because he was in New England he was with Colt Popovich at Troy State, but then he was in New England. So he's got some crossover there, and they seem to respect his ability to handle some of the mental challenges so far. For those of you who don't follow the channel, I had a weird couple weeks where I was stuck in Oregon, so this is my first chance to. I wasn't originally planning on going to the practices in West Virginia, but I have to get there. Sean Pendergast and I will be there in an Airbnb. Let's see. UXG Freestyle says this is the first preseason where I'm excited to see every string from first to third play. Would Ariante Ursary be the biggest guy on our O line? No. And that's what's interesting. He's about the exact same size as Cam Robinson, 6'6", 330, 335. Ariante looks a little svelter and trim than he did during OTAs, or maybe, and it's hard to tell from college film, but it looks like he's already maybe taken to some of the aspects of being a full-time football player and having all the resources at your disposal, which is a good sign. It means he's taking it seriously. Trent Brown is 6'8" or so. He's a large human being, like almost something like out of a Frankenstein movie. But I think Trent Brown's a good example of a guy that is real tall, doesn't play with great pad level because it's almost physically impossible for him to get down, but he uses his length really well. And I think Ariante Ursary might be able to pick up some tips from Trent Brown, just because I don't like Ariante Ursary doesn't have real good natural knee bend, but some guys can get away with that as long as they've got the physical strength and then they know how to use their length and the geometry to their advantage. Yes. I can't show these on here, can I? Do you think Jaden Higgins will take Tank's spot? Well, I mean, Tank's still recovering, so I like all these positive comments you're making about the team. Yeah, and look, there's a lot to be positive about right now. One thing I would say that I really worry about people worrying too much about interceptions in training camp, because CJ's thrown some picks to a very turnover happy defense. I get more nervous about quarterbacks who don't throw picks during training camp. Do you remember Marcus Mariota? And remember how everybody was gushing about him not throwing any interceptions for his first 3 weeks of training camp his rookie year or something? Yeah, that's cowardly. Like, you're not this is when you're supposed to make mistakes. This is when you're supposed to be testing what you can and can't get away with. So, I don't worry about any interceptions unless you've got a slew of really ugly, inaccurate footballs. But right now is when you really wanna just figure out where is that razor's edge and what can you do and what can't you do. There's gonna be interceptions during training camp when perhaps new receivers are trying to get on the same page as CJ, and maybe the receiver doesn't respond or react to leverage the way that CJ would like. So those mistakes are critical. You cannot accomplish anything great in life without making mistakes. So they are by like they are a crucial part of the process. And guys that don't make mistakes or don't make throw interceptions during training camp really aren't. They're not trying all that hard. So I'm not worried about that. As far as the defense goes, because I saw one person make a valid question or concern about, hey, turnovers from year to year, you can't quite really rely on them, and that's partly true because there's a little bit of flukishness. Like a turnover occurs on about 3% of football plays, so a swing up or a swing down ends up having an outsized effect. Sometimes the ball just bounces into your hands a few more times. The thing about the Texans' turnovers last year is that there's substance behind them. They come from having some defensive backs who have very good ball skills. Derek Stingley has incredible ball skills, and then just good defensive backs in general at the corners last year. Kalen Bullock, who's very, very rangy and can make some plays on, the supposedly gift interceptions. Like, you have to be in position to receive that gift. And then he's also this training camp, he's been just looking incredible. CJ Gardner Johnson has consistently taken the ball away the last two full seasons that he's played. It's been absurd how quickly or just how frequently he's taken the ball away. So when you have the combination of the pass rush causing interceptions to guys that have genuine ball skills, I feel pretty confident about the interceptions. The big part is the fumbles and recovered fumbles. There's a little bit of luck in recovering a fumble. There's a lot less luck involved in causing fumbles. And one of the big points of emphasis this training camp has been at the top of your pass rush, getting the ball out. Will Anderson has talked about it, just how important it is to get your hand on the football, because a strip sack, and especially a recovered strip sack, is better than the vast majority of interceptions because you're getting it at least 5-10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and that's something they're very capable of doing. Which I think bring me one other guy that I want to watch when I'm watching Ariante Ursary and when I'm watching Jarrett Patterson and Jake Andrews. Obviously, I'm going to be watching some of the defensive players, but Darrell Taylor, who had some really promising plays his rookie year in Seattle 4 or 5 years ago, and just never really capitalized on it. Went to Chicago last year, had kind of a weird year where he started off real strong, but they didn't use him that much. The big thing about him is I think that he's a guy that in Seattle might have been kind of like Jason Babin was when he was in Houston. In Seattle, Drell Taylor was stuck as a stand-up outside linebacker who was rushing the passer and at times had his hand in the dirt. But I think in coming to a 4-3, you might really see the better part of him. He's got to do some work on becoming a better run player. He's not super stout physiologically, but there's always work you can do on that. And I think that through the combination of Rod Wright, Matt Burke, and D'Amico Ryans, you might really get a value out of that 1 year, $5 million contract. Solomon Byrd, also rookie from last year, who was very polished by rookie standards last year. Spent 6 years in college and he's been married with kids forever. He's done some good things in camp so far, so I'd like to see where he's progressed. It's going to be tough to make this team as a defensive end. Mega Tim asks, what position did you play? I was a defensive tackle. Last 5 years of my career, I was a nose tackle in Dom Capers' defense, and that was the best fit for me. I was a 4-3 defensive tackle when I was in Jacksonville. Came to Houston and got to play nose tackle, and that was what I did. I was about 60 pounds heavier back then. Thank you for everybody else answering that I was a defensive tackle. As Rich Boy J points out, to be fair, Bullock dropped quite a few gifted interceptions. Right? Yes. Yeah. I asked Nick Casario about that when we had him on Payne and Pendergast the other day, and he's been on the jugs machine a lot. I know there've been a lot of reports of him being out on the jugs machine, and part of it is with a free safety, there is that element of, man, you're coming at closing speed a lot of times, and it's not quite as easy as it looks, or at least when like sometimes the more athletic interceptions when you're running stride for stride with a wide receiver. I don't want to say it's easier than a closing speed, like closing on the ball, but he's got to get better at that. He's got to get better at that. Taylor could be an amazing pickup. He put up sack numbers before. Yeah. Seth, do you feel your mid to upper 50 speed on Madden was fair? Listen, Don, I know there were some years on Madden where I was rated way higher than I should have been, and then there were some years where I was criminally underrated. I know nothing about it other than that. And I know that for whatever reason, I guess there was some glitch where at some points I was like unstoppable against certain teams, no matter what my actual grade was. That's all I know about it. I choose to focus on the possible. Do you think healthy seasons are a bit of luck as well, or something a team can improve on? It's a really good question. A little bit of both, and they do a lot with the sports science. They monitor how quickly guys are moving during practice, what their max speed is, all of that. It's hard to pin down any one year and say that they could have improved the injuries on this side, or they're worse than other teams were. I feel like this is an Astros question. I think the Astros should. Yes, yes. Can I do something differently? Yes. I don't know. How old am I? I am 50. I'm 50. Remember the old SNL skit with what's her name there, Molly Shannon? Do you still like men, Michael? I feel like you're trolling somehow, and yet, sure. I mean, like I like guys. I like women. Not sexually. I mean, I guess if you're taking it there, like, do you think I'm some kind of like trying to be? I'm just like a hyper liberal that wants to like, oh, nothing worse than white men. Ew. They disgust me. Ew. Yeah. Uh, I'm 50. I'm wondering if the swarm mentality, which is highly aggressive, makes it more likely to have injuries. I know that who's gotten, is it Henry Toa that has had a couple of friendly fires? He's taken a couple guys out, or no, it's Petrie hitting Toa. I feel like the swarm mentality, the most dangerous to his own people is Jalen Petrie. Jalen Petrie will come up and hit anything that moves. He's like a velociraptor. Are we having Toa took out Petrie, and Ward is taking guys out. Yeah, Ward'll we'll see we'll see where Ward is if we get a report from the ankle monitor. I gotta get going because Sean's waiting for me in West Virginia at our Airbnb because I like men.